Vegetable prices skyrocket. Are you ready? Have you noticed something unusual happening in grocery stores lately? The prices of vegetables, from familiar ones like carrots and kale to potatoes, have skyrocketed in recent weeks. So, do you think the prices are increasing too quickly? Or is this just a temporary change? In fact, vegetable prices in the US have increased by nearly 40% in July compared to the same period last year, and this issue will directly impact your wallet. Have you ever noticed that a bag of greens that used to cost under $3 at Walmart is now over $5? Even Costco, which was known for its low prices, is no longer a safe haven for bargain hunters. According to the latest data, at least 7 of the most popular vegetables have reached their highest prices since the beginning of the year, and some items have nearly doubled in price in just the last 30 days. You're probably wondering, why is this happening? Part of the reason is a combination of retaliatory tariffs, supply chain disruptions, and rising fuel costs. As Donald Trump once said, "We are facing heavy losses on every front," and this truly reflects the current situation, as suppliers are bearing higher costs, which drives food prices up. Consumers, especially retirees and middle-aged workers, are feeling the direct impact without any real warnings. Here's a list of the vegetables that are currently burning a hole in your wallet at the biggest grocery chains across the country. Are you surprised by these vegetables? Let's take a look and see if you've prepared for these fluctuations. Tomato prices surge, a wake-up call for the US food industry. Have you noticed the sudden spike in tomato prices recently, with no warning? A staple in your grocery cart, tomatoes now make you stop and think before adding them to your list. For decades, tomatoes have been an essential part of every American meal. But in recent weeks, the price of this food item has risen from under $2 to nearly $4 per box. This may seem insignificant at first glance, but when you factor in long-term purchases, it forces a shift in your shopping habits. Tomatoes, once an easily affordable item, are now no longer as accessible as before. What's concerning is how abrupt this change has been. There was no clear announcement or signs that prices would rise. This is what's making many consumers uneasy. For older individuals, tomatoes are not just a simple vegetable. They are a key ingredient in beloved meals: pasta sauce, salads, and hearty stews. When the price increases unexpectedly, consumers face not only a higher bill, but also the need to rethink their daily meal choices. These changes affect more than just finances. They shake the sense of stability that food once provided in daily life. As fresh tomato prices soar, many have turned to canned tomatoes, hoping to find a more affordable solution. However, their prices aren't much better. Some have even started using pre-made sauces, but the flavor just isn't the same. The satisfaction of a meal is slowly fading, replaced by a continuous trade-off between quality and cost. Stores are adjusting too. They're displaying fewer products and experimenting with less common sauces, such as grape or yellow tomato sauces. But this doesn't address the core issue. Prices are still climbing. In response, consumers are looking for ways to adjust their shopping habits. Instead of buying an entire box of tomatoes, they're opting for just a few individual pieces. Some are heading to farmers markets in hopes of finding better prices. But it doesn't help much when quality equals higher costs, and total expenses remain unchanged. This leaves many feeling helpless. When a basic item like tomatoes becomes unpredictable and expensive, consumers start questioning the entire food supply chain. Consumer finance experts suggest that if the price exceeds what you can afford, it's time to rethink your approach. Don't let costs become a burden. Adjust your meal plans, look for alternatives, and always keep track of food prices strategically. Make price monitoring a financial survival skill to help you navigate a volatile economy. The food world is no longer what it used to be, and you need to prepare for the changes ahead. Act today, because managing food finances is not just a habit, it's a necessity in today's world. Second is lettuce. Lettuce, shortage, skyrocketing prices. Have you noticed that lettuce, a staple in every American salad, has become one of the most surprisingly expensive items at the grocery store? According to reports from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, the price of lettuce has risen by over 30% in just the last 6 weeks, a figure that has caught consumers off guard. Lettuce, once known as a readily available, easy-to-grow vegetable, is now facing record-high prices that many never anticipated. In states like New York, Michigan, and across the Midwest, lettuce prices have now surpassed $5 per head, the highest they've been since 2008. This isn't just about rising prices, it's a sign of major shifts in America's food supply chain. One of the key factors driving this price hike is the shortage in domestic supply, particularly from California and Arizona, which together provide over 90% of the nation's lettuce. In the past 3 months, production from these states has dropped by over 25% compared to last year. It's not a matter of lacking land or labor, but a shortage of water and an inability to cope with extreme weather. Rising irrigation costs combined with prolonged heat waves have caused many farms to abandon their crops, leaving consumers facing a supply shortage. Additionally, the import tariffs on fresh produce from Mexico, which supplies a significant portion of lettuce during peak season, have caused prices to skyrocket. Retaliatory tariffs have slowed down transportation, and many shipments have been redirected to Canada, which is offering preferential tax rates for goods from Latin America. But perhaps the most hidden factor is the pricing strategy of large supermarket chains. Instead of openly raising prices, many stores have reduced the weight and number of leaves in pre-packaged lettuce bags, making it difficult for customers to notice the change until they find themselves buying another bag just a few days later. For those on special diets, people with diabetes, or anyone trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle, lettuce has always been a key part of their daily meals. With such a sharp increase in prices, it's not just affecting household budgets, it's threatening long-standing eating habits. Meals no longer begin with a fresh, crisp salad. The sense of stability in everyday eating is slowly eroding as consumers no longer see lettuce as an easy and affordable choice. With the ongoing drought and forecasts from retailers suggesting that lettuce prices could continue to rise throughout the fourth quarter of this year, this once essential green vegetable may soon become something that consumers must carefully consider before adding it to their shopping cart. Everything is changing rapidly, and your daily meals may not be the same anymore. Third, potatoes. There's been a subtle but noticeable change in the bags of potatoes on the shelves of major supermarkets like Walmart, Target, and WCO Foods. If you're a regular shopper, you've probably noticed that the bags are lighter, smaller, and more expensive. This may not be noticeable at first, but when you add all these factors together, it adds up to a change that can't be ignored. Retail potato prices are up nearly 30% on average right now. In particular, pre-packaged potatoes, once a convenience food that was considered a cheap food, are now an item you think twice about adding to your shopping cart. Even instant mashed potatoes, which are a lifesaver for many families at the end of the month, are now 50 to 70 cents more expensive, depending on where you live. While this difference can be seen in the price charts, the biggest impact is the change in consumer habits. Families began to eat fewer potatoes in their meals, and dishes such as baked potatoes and homemade fries, which were once staples for working-class households, became luxuries that many could no longer afford. As a result, many people switched to buying smaller bags of potatoes or choosing more unusual shapes to save money. Some even eliminated potatoes from their shopping lists altogether. However, the problem is not just the cost, but also the nutritional imbalance. Not everyone can replace potatoes with other vegetables, and the prices of these products are also increasing rapidly. Especially for the elderly, potatoes are easy to digest and provide energy for the body. As potato prices increase, many people no longer have reasonable alternatives. In terms of distribution, the situation is no better. Supermarkets are reporting that potato stocks are dropping, not because potatoes are selling well, but because orders from suppliers have been cut. Many shelves are now empty or are only stocked with the most expensive varieties. Discount potatoes are rare, and in densely populated middle-class areas, they have almost disappeared altogether. So what should consumers do in the meantime? One solution is to change the way you shop. Instead of buying potatoes out of habit or in standard bag sizes, start paying attention to the price per pound. Check labels carefully and don't buy something just because it's marked as discounted. If you find a good deal, consider buying extra and freezing some for use in the coming weeks. Most importantly, check your receipts every time you shop. These price increases are subtle and uneven, but they are having a big impact on your budget. If consumers don't pay attention to rising prices on staples like potatoes, the financial consequences will extend far beyond the kitchen and into the entire household. These changes are happening silently, and if left unaddressed, the cost of living will quickly become unaffordable for many families. Broccoli. The golden vegetable you should consider carefully. Broccoli, a vegetable that many children used to push aside on their plates, has now become an indispensable food in the diet of adults, especially those overfed. With its great benefits for heart health, digestion, and blood sugar, broccoli has gradually asserted its position on the menu of many American families. However, recent price changes have made this vegetable an item that consumers should think twice before adding to their shopping cart. The price of broccoli at major supermarkets such as Walmart, Publix, and Meijer has now surpassed $3 per pound, a price that shoppers considered quite high for a common vegetable just a few months ago. Notably, many retailers have stopped selling whole broccoli, switching to pre-cut bags, which are lighter but cost more per pound. Not only is this changing the shopping habits of families, it's making consumers think twice before each trip to the supermarket. So why is broccoli so expensive? In places like California, Illinois, and Oregon, shoppers have started reporting local shortages at major stores. It's not a shortage due to high demand, but because of supply disruptions due to supply chain issues and weather impacts. While some days are only available in frozen versions, other days are seeing prices rise but quality decline. Broccoli starts wilting or turning yellow just days after purchase. As Donald Trump once said, "We need to make America great again." But how can we do that when even basic vegetables have become a luxury? Sure, broccoli isn't a luxury food, but the price and supply fluctuations make it a major challenge for family budgets. So, what do you think? Are you facing similar challenges with grocery shopping these days? How do you balance maintaining a healthy diet with cutting costs in your family budget? Share your thoughts in the comments below this video. In these difficult times, changing your shopping habits is not easy, but it is necessary. And with broccoli still expensive, will families have to choose between keeping the healthy vegetable or cutting back to fit the budget? Thursday. Carrots. From convenience vegetable to budget burden, carrots have long been a staple in the diets of many American families. With their high nutritional value, ease of storage, and ease of preparation, carrots have long been one of the most sustainable vegetables on the market. But what happens when even this affordable food starts to skyrocket in price? Over the past few months, carrot prices at major stores like Walmart, Target, and H-E-B have increased dramatically. A 16-ounce bag of carrots now costs more than $1, which was considered a reasonable price just 6 months ago. This price is not unusual, but when large, stable carrots suddenly increase in price, it becomes a worrying change. Before, carrots were just a convenient vegetable, no-brainer, easy to throw into the shopping cart without thinking. But now, consumers are starting to feel the change. Not only are they spending more time at the carrot counter, but they're also starting to compare prices between washed carrots, pre-cut carrots, and whole carrots. This comparison not only takes up more time, but also causes a lot of confusion. The rapid rise in carrot prices has forced many families to reconsider their shopping habits, and some have even switched from large bags to small bags, or replaced fresh carrots with frozen or canned carrots. The impact of rising carrot prices goes beyond changing shopping habits. Family restaurants and cafes are also adjusting. Some have had to raise prices on their menus or reduce portion sizes of carrot-based dishes like salads and carrot juice, causing a ripple effect from the grocery store to the diner, where consumers pay more or get less. So what can you do to save money? One strategy is to buy carrots loose rather than pre-packaged. Check the expiration dates and, if possible, buy from a local farmer's market or join a neighborhood group to buy in bulk and share the cost. This can be a smart way to save money while maintaining the habit of consuming fresh food. Not only does this reduce the value of the order, but it is also a survival tactic in the face of soaring food prices. Carrots used to be a staple in family meals, but now that the staple has become something consumers have to carefully calculate, we are faced with a big question. Are these habits forever changed, and when can we expect things to return to the way they were? Friday, onions. Onions, a simple but indispensable ingredient in many American kitchens, are quietly becoming a financial burden. In the past, onions were always a cheap, easy to find, and easy to use vegetable. But now the situation has changed dramatically. The price of onions, especially white onions, has increased by nearly 40% in just the past year, making them no longer as easy to throw into the shopping cart as they once were. Onions, even though they are just a side ingredient in soups, sauces, and stews, are becoming a deciding factor in family budgets. According to information from major supermarket chains such as Whole Foods and Walmart, the price of onions has increased to the point that consumers have to think twice about buying them. If the average family consumes 3 to 4 pounds of onions per week, the increased cost may force that family to cut back on other foods to compensate. With the sharp rise in onion prices, consumers are becoming more selective in their purchases. No longer grabbing big bags, they are now buying only what they need. Some people even switch to red or purple onions instead of white onions to save money. Meanwhile, supermarkets have also changed their onion display strategy. From reducing the space they display fresh onions to expanding their mini-packaged or pre-cooked options. This makes the price change less noticeable, making it easy for shoppers to go over budget without even realizing it. The restaurant industry is no exception. Dishes containing onions, which are an indispensable part of the menu, are gradually being cut or suddenly increasing in price. Beef burgers may now lack the fried onion layer, or dishes with fried onions are also sliced thinner. A seemingly small change, but affecting the culinary experience and budget of millions of families. With onions, we are facing one of the silent agents that increase the cost of living. Although not the most expensive item in the grocery cart, when a familiar ingredient like onions becomes unstable in price, your entire menu may have to change. It is time for consumers to change their approach to shopping. Buying onions the old way is no longer a smart choice. At the same time, controlling the food budget is no longer an option but a necessity in today's era of rising prices. So what do you think? Will onions be the next ingredient to become a financial challenge for your family? Share your thoughts in the comments section below this video. Saturday, bell peppers. Bell pepper prices soar. The hidden shift in the food economy. Indeed, one of the most striking changes I've seen in recent weeks has been the dramatic rise in the price of bell peppers, a vegetable that was once a colorful and accessible garnish at every meal. Where once a red bell pepper cost less than $1.50, you can now pay more than $2 for one, and this has created a wave of changes in the shopping habits of many families. In particular, I've noticed that red and yellow bell peppers, which are often used in special dishes, have seen the biggest price increases. This shift is not random, but a combination of factors affecting the market. First, increased tariffs on imports from Mexico, which supplies the majority of bell peppers to the US, combined with supply chain disruptions have increased production and shipping costs. At the same time, extreme weather in major growing regions has reduced production, driving up prices. I can't help but wonder, why wasn't this obvious before? We may be living in a time when price changes are no longer just a matter of supply and demand. What worries me most is that bell peppers are no longer cheap, easy items to toss into your shopping cart. Middle-aged families or retirees who have a steady income but no longer have the flexibility to spend are starting to feel the effects of these price increases. In the past, when things got expensive, I could substitute other vegetables, but bell peppers are special. Not only do they add color to a dish, they also provide significant nutritional value, from vitamin C to fiber. But now, substituting bell peppers is no longer so simple. Shoppers are starting to think twice before adding them to their carts. Some are substituting other vegetables like broccoli or tomatoes, but they lack the sweetness and color. Some families are opting for pre-packaged or frozen bell peppers, even though that means sacrificing freshness and texture. So, what does this mean for the rest of us? This isn't just a problem for items like bell peppers. It's a warning about a profound shift in today's food economy. As the price of basic mealtime staples soars, consumers' confidence in the stability of food supplies is starting to falter. And this reflects not just an imbalance in supply and demand, but also a loss of faith in the larger economic system. What is the solution? I think it is time to change our food shopping habits. Choosing the right time to buy, comparing prices, and working with the community to share the cost can help save some money. Adjusting portion sizes or even reducing the frequency of using these expensive vegetables is also a way to balance family spending. Food is not just food, it is a reflection of the economy. When we feel as if our choices are limited, we also need to look at the bigger picture of the current economy. Can we adapt to these fluctuations? How can we continue to maintain a healthy diet without sacrificing too much financially? Certainly, changes in food prices are not something that can be changed immediately. But with awareness and insight, I believe we can adjust our consumption habits accordingly. Are you willing to change the way you shop to cope with this situation? Share your thoughts in the comments.